Broadcasting news this morning. God rests on the seventh day. Adam names over 4,000 creatures in a day. And finally, your daily reminder to stay far from the tree in the middle of the garden. Good morning, viewers. We are live on NCU Media and in Mr. Wilson's God and Human Life Class.com. Welcome back to Eden's Broadcasting Network. It has been another perfect day here in Eden. The first human beings, Adam and Eve, are enjoying the garden that God has created and all the beautiful animals and flowers. And what? Breaking news? Humanity has fallen!
You are watching Eden's Broadcasting Network's breaking news. Today, we have the First Lady at the gates of the Garden of Eden. Here is the exclusive interview with Lady Eve.
Good morning, Eve. I see you look distraught. What happened? Why are you outside of the Garden of Eden?
Me and my husband, Adam, we just get kicked out of Eden.
Wow. And why is that so? Tell the people what
I
happened.
was walking around, just exploring by myself. When I heard, like snake. And me with my past self, want me to go look. When I went there, I heard talking. And I saw a serpent. I did not know snakes could attack. You didn't know?
So wasn't that a red flag?
Big red flag. But I was intrigued, so I listened.
Well, Eve, it is time for the question on everyone's mind, What was the fruit and how did it taste? Because it better taste really good for it to have led to the fall of humanity,
It doesn't really matter. I should not have eaten that fruit. The tree in the garden was just a test to see if I would obey or disobey God, and I failed.
Interesting. A news reporter named Ellen White says that your first sin was in wandering, and then in lingering around the forbidden tree, and then in listening to the voice of the tempter. What do you say?
That is true, that is true. I feel really terrible as I cause the fall of humanity. And I feel really bad that I eat the fruit. But what makes me feel worse than the dirt that God made my husband Adam out of is that I disobeyed my creator. He gave me one order and never listened.
Outside the Garden of Eden, we also have Adam, the first man that God created. Good day, Adam. Tell us your side to this great tragedy.
I was there when Eve selected the fruit and ate it. After that, my eyes were widened.
An eyewitness to the scene, named Ellen, said that when Eve came to you with the fruit, you appeared afraid and astonished. A struggle seemed to be going on in your mind. You felt sure that it was the foe against whom you were warned, and that your wife must die. But your love for Eve was strong, and in utter discouragement, you resolved to share her fate. Is this true?
Yes, that is right. I had no choice but to support her because of the love I have for her.
So after you sinned, you heard God coming and decided to hide. Well, Genesis chapter 3 says that God asked you, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" And then you answered and said, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me the fruit." But Adam, why did you blame Eve if you loved her so much?
Because she made me do it.
One last question. The viewers have been asking and Eve did not answer. But what was the fruit? Rumors in the street say that it was an apple. What can you say?
That is classified information. It cannot be shared to the public.
Any last words?
Alright, so my last words to the viewers. What I have to say is this. Those men and women who want to disobey God's command and believe a lie are just what Satan wants. Yes, he wants women to consider today's restrictions in women, just as I drew Eve's attention to the one tree band. Break your shackles, seek self-fulfillment, and a voice whispers, God is stopping you from what is doing right. What you are doing right, rather. It is just a fabrication. God's law have meaning, whether we understand them or not. Thank you for having me today.
So, you have heard it, everyone. This seemed to be a crime of love, but the consequences are great, and it has led to the fall of humanity. Back over to you in the studio.
Moral of the story is when a man says, do not answer, he may just be a serpent. Speaking of serpent, now the serpent was more crafty than all the wild animals that God had made. Genesis 3 verse 1. Our team here has located this crafty creature and interviewed him. And just to give an update, God has placed a curse on him. According to our best eyewitness, the Bible, God said to the serpent, you will crawl on your belly and you will eat dust all the days of your life. Let's see what this creature has to say.
Before we begin, please note that some viewers may find what they are about to hear uncomfortable. This is why we have decided to keep the serpent's identity a secret.
I am the serpent that is responsible for the fall of humanity.
So, Mr. Serpent, tell us how were you so clever to deceive Eve?
You see, I simply twisted God's words. I said, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the gardens? Then she said, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die. And then I lied and said, you will not certainly die, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened.
How do you feel knowing that you are the real cause of sin, suffering, diseases, death, and sorrow in our once perfect paradise?
I feel very accomplished. I am the cause of all this suffering.
Any last words?
I will fight forever against good as long as I am alive. Good will never prevail.
This morning, I had typical news of our perfect world, but now so much darkness has entered. This is a political issue. Political because the devil has decided to fight against God, our Creator, for the governance and authority of our world. Eden's Broadcasting Network has brought in some of the most elite professionals to discuss this issue.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Monique Williams and I am an expert in being a botanist, right? I have been studying plants for over 15 years and I can truly say that I really love doing so. So when I was called upon to talk about the Garden of Eden, I was super excited. So as you talk about the Garden of Eden, we're talking about plants, we're talking about beauty, we're talking about Adam and Eve, we're talking about the place where God have here on earth that they call the paradise, right? Even though we may not be able to locate the exact place where it is, but the Bible speaks about the Garden of Eden, all right? And the study shows that the Garden of Eden is recognized in the Abrahamic religion of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But some other religion and culture have creation and story containing similar concept to the biblical Garden of Eden that dates much back further into history in the Old Testament, all right? So as we talk about that now, persons might say, why is the Garden of Eden so special? right? Well, the Garden of Eden is beautiful based on the description. The Garden of Eden containing the tree of life. Can you imagine the tree of life where God intended for Adam and Eve to live in peacefully and contented, right? Effortlessly reaping fruits. Can you imagine having a garden filled with fruits? Right? You don't have to go out and buy any. So the Garden of Eden also contains the knowledge of good and evil, which Adam and Eve were forbidden to eat. Well, they disobeyed and ate the forbidden fruit, and God drove them out of the Garden of Eden. Their sins and consequences, loss of God's grace, and they lose the whole paradise. Can you imagine just one instruction?
My name is Princess Anne Sayers, and I will be going more in depth from where Monique left off from the Garden of Eden. So let's get into it. How the Garden of Eden accounts relates to our salvation. The story that began in Eden doesn't end in Genesis 3. This garden, in fact, sets the stage for God's cosmic plan of redemption. In Genesis 2 and 3, we see the goodness of God, we see the goodness of creation and a perfect relationship between God and man, only to have the curse of sin plunge not only mankind, but all of creation into fertility and decay. Following the fall of Adam and Eve, we see sin taint everything. As we flip through the pages of our Bible, we read of betrayal and murder. In rebellion against their Creator, in addition, creation itself is placed under the curse. In Genesis 3, God declares to Adam, "Cursed is the ground because of you." God's good creation, exemplified by the beautiful Garden of Eden, began to groan. But it is at this moment that the stage is set for God's grand plan of redemption, to restore that which had been lost by the curse of sin. In Genesis 3:15, God points towards a future hope. To the serpent, God said, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring, and he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." Although sin had entered the world, God points towards a future Redeemer who would ultimately crush the head of the serpent, defeating death forever. Revelation 22 reveals that the opportunity for God's people to eat of the tree of life is not gone forever. Instead, the tree of life is gloriously planted in the center of the greater garden to come.
The fall of humanity has ruined many persons' life, and this is Miss Patricia's story.
When I was 16, my mother died, and I never have no father figure because my father left me from I was a baby, so I don't know who my father is, and because I don't know, me not have no support system. So one of the main reasons why me not like humans is because when I was 13 years old, I was introduced to drugs by one of my best friends, and from me start it, I just couldn't stop. Next thing me do is sex working, and see then now I'm pregnant with my third child, and the father for this one, him work ground, but nothing is not going in for him right now, so I'll probably give the baby to a rich man. Me drink a lot, and because of that, after my second child, doctor say me not fi have no more children because I felt some pain, and I never felt those pain before, and one of the time me think me dead. Yeah. Thank you. Done.
Thank you. I am one of your hosts, Romaro Griffiths from the Eden Broadcasting Network. Now today, I'm going to share with you guys on the result of sin. Now, for those who want to know, I'm going to tell you. The result of sin is death. But if you're not convinced by my statement, I'm going to take you to the Bible. Romans 5 verse 12 states, "Therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and one death through sin, And so death spread to all men because all sinned. So you see, guys, once again, the Bible is telling us that the result of sin is death. And because we sin, we have fallen short of God's glory. But even though we have fallen short of His glory, His mercy is enough to redeem us from sin. The result of sin is death. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Brittany McLeod, and today I'll be speaking on the bondage of sin. The moment we sinned, we came bound to death and sin until a time where we can redeem ourselves. This is why God created the plan of redemption. Only through obedience to God can we loosen these bonds. God gave Adam and Eve free will, so they had the ability to choose not to sin or to sin. However, theology says that after they sinned, humans lost the ability to not sin overall. So although we are still free, we still have free will, it's not true freedom as we are slaves to corruption. As Jesus said in John 8:34, whosoever commits sin is a slave to sin. Therefore, humans should be seeking freedom, and by freedom I do not mean the freedom to do what you want when you want to, but the freedom to do what is right in the eyes of God. And in order to be free, we must learn the truth of God. The more you understand the truth, the more you'll be set free from deception, corruption, and ignorance of the world. It is going to be a difficult journey, but it is entirely possible. Jesus Christ came to earth once to die for our sins. It is now up to us to redeem ourselves. And if we make the effort to know God, as in truly know Him and not just of Him, He will be there to help and guide us in freeing ourselves from the bondages to sin.
Well, you heard it here first, viewers. The most tragic day in history, the fall of humanity. Our first parents have sinned and brought so much destruction into our world and curses on humanity. But all hope is not lost. Our resident superhero and our creator has a plan to save our world and save this lost race. He said, I will put enmity between thee and the woman. Genesis 3 verse 15. And we can claim this promise today. God will always be victorious over sin, and so can we. Tune in again on Wednesday for an update on this heartbreaking story. You're watching Eden's Broadcasting Network.